Have you ever stopped to notice how you breathe? When you're stressed out, it gets all fast and choppy, and then when you're relaxed, it's slow and deep? Well, that is absolutely not a coincidence. We're about to dive into the incredible, scientifically proven link between your breath and your mind. And it turns out how you breathe is probably one of the most powerful, untapped tools you have to control how you think, feel, and even how you perform.
I mean, seriously, what if you could just dial down stress whenever you wanted? Or dial up your focus right on command? It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, I know. But this remote control is actually a built-in feature of your own body. And the button you push to make it all work, it's your breath.
Okay, so before we get to the amazing solution, we really need to understand the problem. So many of us feel like we're just overwhelmed by stress with a mind that refuses to switch off. The question is, why does this feel like our default setting?
You know the feeling, right? You're trying to focus on work, but your brain is busy replaying some awkward thing you said last week. Or you're trying to fall asleep, but nope, it's making a worry list for tomorrow. This isn't some personal flaw. It's actually our brain doing exactly what it was designed to do, believe it or not.
It really all comes down to this one concept. Your brain is hardwired for survival. It evolved over millennia to be incredibly good at spotting threats. A rustle in the bushes that could be a predator, a weird look from someone in another tribe. This is called the negativity bias. And what it means is our brains are basically like Velcro for bad experiences and total Teflon for the good ones. Now, this was fantastic for helping our ancestors avoid getting eaten. But in the modern world, it means our internal alarm system is getting triggered all day long by things like email notifications, work deadlines, and scary headlines. We get stuck in this state of high alert, and our mind just keeps scanning and scanning for the next threat. But what if we could just manually override that alarm? That brings us to the solution, and it's way simpler and more accessible than you probably think. So here's what makes breathing so unbelievably unique. Think about it for a second. You can't tell your heart to beat slower. You can't tell your stomach to speed up digestion. Those things just happen, right? They're automatic. But you can, right this very second, decide to take a long, slow breath. This gives you a direct physical lever to pull to influence all those otherwise automatic systems inside your body. It's your inroad. So think of your nervous system as having two main modes. You've got the sympathetic system, that's the gas pedal. It's our fight or flight response that revs us up when we need to deal with a threat. And then you have the parasympathetic system. That's the brake pedal. It's our rest and digest mode that calms everything down. And the switch that lets you consciously go from slamming on the gas to gently tapping the brake, you guessed it, it's your breathing pattern.
So how on earth does simply changing the way you're breathing accomplish all of this? Let's get into the absolutely fascinating neuroscience that makes this whole remote control thing possible.
All right, get this. Deep in your brainstem, which is like the most ancient part of your brain, there's this tiny little group of neurons, and their only job, their entire job, is to monitor your breathing rate. Think of them like tiny little spies, constantly reporting back to brain headquarters on the status of your breath 24/7.
And this is how the chain reaction works. When you intentionally slow your breathing down, those little spy neurons, they're in a spot called the pre-Bitzinger complex. They notice this, and they start to chill out. Then they send a message up to the brain's main alarm center, the locus coeruleus, and they basically say, hey, everything's cool down here, false alarm. In response, that alarm center dials back the production of stress hormones, and your entire system starts to relax. You've just hacked your own stress response. It's amazing.
Wait, that's not the only pathway. There's another, even more direct route for sending calming signals, and it's called the vagus nerve. This thing is a massive nerve that literally wanders from your brain all the way down into your gut, connecting to almost every major organ along the way, including your lungs. And the secret weapon here is the exhale. When you take a long, slow exhale, you actually activate these little stretch receptors in your lungs. This sends a safety signal shooting directly up the vagus nerve to your brain. Your brain gets the message and releases a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. Think of it as your body's own natural tranquilizer. It immediately starts to slow your heart rate down, and a feeling of calm just washes over you. This is exactly why almost every relaxation technique you've ever heard of tells you to focus on a longer exhale.
Okay, so we've covered the why this all works. Now let's get to the fun part, the how. We're going to build a practical toolkit of breathing techniques you can use anytime, anywhere.
All right, let's look at 3 powerful techniques. First, for when you're feeling really anxious or you just can't fall asleep, try 4-7-8 breathing. It's simple. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7, and then a long exhale for 8. To get grounded and focused under pressure, this is what Navy SEALs use. There's box breathing, a steady, even cycle of in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. And for a super fast stress reset, my favorite is cyclic sighing. 2 quick inhales through your nose, one right after the other, and then 1 long, full exhale through your mouth. And hey, if you're wondering just how effective this stuff is, get this. A recent study out of Stanford found that just 5 minutes a day of that cyclic sighing technique actually had a bigger positive impact on mood and anxiety than 5 minutes of mindfulness meditation. That is an absolutely incredible return for such a small investment of your time.
So we can use our breath to calm down. That's clear. But what about gearing up for peak performance? This is where breath control gets really exciting. It's our key to unlocking that elusive state of being in the zone.
You know this feeling. The psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi gave it a name, the flow state. It's when you are so completely absorbed in what you're doing that time just seems to warp and disappear. That nagging inner critic goes silent, and whatever you're doing just feels effortless. It's the state where we do our absolute best work and feel our best while we're doing it.
What's just wild is that these different mental states have a literal physical breathing signature. When we're anxious, we might be taking around 18 breaths a minute. When we're calm, it's more like 12. But that incredible flow state, it has a very specific rhythm, right around 5 to 6 breaths per minute. And this isn't just a coincidence, it's a gateway.
See, breathing at this slow, steady pace, it's actually called a resonant frequency, does something truly remarkable inside your body. It creates what's known as cardiorespiratory coherence. Basically, your heart rate, your blood pressure, and even your brain waves all start to sync up and operate in harmony. This massively reduces all that mental noise that distracts us, creating the perfect internal environment for deep, effortless concentration. And this quote just nails the whole idea of flow. It's not about being zoned out or just chilling on the couch. It's about being completely zoned in on something that's challenging, something that matters to you. And by controlling our breath, we're not just calming ourselves down. We are literally preparing our minds and bodies to take on those difficult, worthwhile challenges with total focus. So, the ultimate takeaway is this. You are holding the remote. Your breath gives you direct, conscious access to your own nervous system. You can use it to find calm in the middle of chaos, to find focus when you're distracted, and to unlock your own peak performance. So the only real question left is, what will you choose to tune into?